so yummy and so rich. Oh, the broth is so rich.
You know, stock making is something that I feel like has been lost in today's modern day kitchens, and it's really important to building flavor and complexity into your dishes. In addition, when you make something yourself, you get the chance to put your love into it. That's why I think it's important to learn how to make homemade stock. So check our website, hotkitchenonline.com, and look for our blog on stock cookery. And now it's time to move into the salad. So I have a special little salad for tonight. And what we're gonna do that makes it special is you're gonna allow the vegetables, the zucchini, the whole diced up tomato, a couple sliced up scallions, and some dried fruit. Tonight I'm using about 1/8 of a cup of sliced up apricots. And what you're gonna do is let those marinate in a little vinegar, which allows the vegetables the chance to sort of marinate and macerate and release all their flavors. So I'm gonna give that a little toss here. That was 2 ounces of cider vinegar that I chose to use tonight. And at this point, I'm also gonna add in a little dollop of Dijon mustard. It's gonna add a little complexity. It's gonna help the vinegar to develop a little thickness and sort of stick to the vegetables while they do their thing. And you wanna get this started before you get going on the main course. And also at this first stage of the salad building, you want to add a nice generous amount of salt and pepper. That also helps the vegetables sort of break down and macerate and kind of cook in the vinegar. All right, we can set that aside now and move on to the risotto. So the first thing that I'm going to do with the risotto is actually start the mushrooms browning. I have a preheated saute pan that I'm going to add a little olive oil to, and these beautiful quartered mushrooms. And I'm going to place them all in the pan with one side down. While the oil comes up to temperature, it will result in a nice brown sear on the mushrooms. You see how I'm placing them in here kind of gingerly, and there's a reason for that I will get a much better looking and tasting result if I give the mushrooms a little space. So I'm just going to scoot them all in here, making sure that each one of them has full contact with the flat surface of the pan. And slide it around a little bit, make sure that olive oil gets the chance to come into contact with the mushrooms, and let them be for about 5 to 10 minutes. In the meantime, get the risotto started, because that's going to take quite a while as well. Also adding olive oil to a nice big hot saute pan here. And the first thing that I'm going to do is add a clove of garlic. Actually, that same clove of garlic I used for the crouton, and a little bit of minced up ginger. And I'm gonna give that a quick little saute here. Just enough time to infuse the oil with the flavors of the ginger and the garlic. Right as I smell it becoming very aromatic, I'm gonna go ahead and add a 1/2 cup of arborio rice, which is the rice most commonly used for risotto. And I'm gonna saute that as per pilaf for just a moment, allowing that infused olive oil to coat each and every grain of rice. And then it's time to start adding stock. So I have about 14 ounces of very hot fish stock here. I'm going to add it just a couple ounces at a time. Pretty much continually stirring the risotto from start to finish to get that creamy, delicious result. I'm going to keep my heat on a nice medium-low temperature so the risotto cooks before it evaporates out all of the stock. So the first round of stock that I put in there has pretty much been absorbed up, so I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit more. Continue stirring, putting lots and lots of love into it. Looks like the mushrooms are ready for a little love now. Let's see how they're doing. Oh yes, that's just what you want to see. So go ahead and rotate those if you cut them in quarters like I did. And allow them to come about that same color on the other side. It should be much faster because the mushroom has already been heated through. In the meanwhile, more stirring on the risotto. Let's see how those mushrooms are doing. The color looks fantastic on the other side. It's a perfect match. So I'm going to get these out of the pan. And I'm actually going to use this pan for the glaze for the salmon. So I'm going to give it a quick wash here. You know, when you have your favorite pan, you just want to keep using it over and over again. So I'm going to give that just a moment to get heated up here. And I will grab the orange juice, the brown sugar, and the ginger, which I'm totally going to need to make the glaze for the salmon. In the meantime, more stirring on the risotto. And it's time for a little more stock. Yummy. It's going to be really tasty and creamy and delicious. Bought myself a second or two of time there. So now I'm going to work on the glaze again. I have a teaspoon of cornstarch and I'm going to whisk it into the juice of a fresh orange. You can also substitute a half cup orange juice. It's important to whisk the cornstarch into the juice when it's cold, because if you do it when it's hot, you're going to get lumps. And that's no good for a nice glaze like this. So once you see all those lumps are gone, you're good to go ahead and add it to your pan here. And while it comes up to temperature, add your 1/8 of a cup of brown sugar and grate a little fresh ginger into it. And there is the ginger. Put that in there. Give this a quick little whisk. And what I'm looking for is for it to come up to a boil and sort of clarify. Meanwhile, back to the risotto. Stirring, stirring, stirring lovingly to activate all those proteins and make it smooth and creamy and delicious. Risotto is about love and patience. You have to be patient while it accepts your love over a period of 20 to 25 minutes. The end result is amazing and second to none. And it looks like the orange glaze is just approaching a boil now, so I'm going to start whisking that again for a few minutes. Want to see it thicken and clarify, and wow, you can smell that ginger coming out. That is beautiful. It's just about time to get the rest of dinner going. So I'm going to add a little stock into my risotto here, give it a little stir, level it out in the pan, and then it's time to dress the salmon with a little bit of lemon juice. Helps to kill any fishy flavor that might be there. Also helps to kill any bacteria that you wouldn't want to feed your sweetie. The next thing I'm going to do is grab my hot broiler pan out of the oven. I like to preheat the broiler pan because it gives a nice sear on the bottom of the salmon that you just don't normally get with a broil. So now take the salmon, place it on there, listen for that nice sizzle. Grab the sauce and brush a little bit of that lovingly over the top of the salmon. Nice little glaze. Wow, that smells really good. And because it's hot, I need my hot mitt. Back into the broiler. Set my broiler on its lowest temperature. And then the next step, the croutons for the salad. I treated these exactly the same way that I treated the croutons for the French onion soup. Only I sliced the bread much thinner, so it's going to crisp up very nicely. More stirring on the risotto. Adding in the last little bit of the fish stock here. And with that, I'm also going to add in some seasoning, a little bit of salt, and a nice little amount of black pepper. Wow, this smells so good, and look how creamy it's becoming. You can See those beautiful little flecks of ginger and garlic in there, working their magic. Yum. Now it's time to finally start adding the coconut milk into the risotto. Again, using the same little bit of a time philosophy. Also make sure it's pre-warmed. And to really enhance the flavor of the coconut milk, still a little bit of that orange glaze for the salmon and drop it in the risotto. It's going to add a little bit of sweetness that makes the coconut just sort of pop. Stir that loveliness in. Yum. Getting nice and creamy and rich and delicious. A little bit more of this yumminess. Give it a little taste here and see how the flavor is developing. That is really, really tasty. So good. This would be the point where you'd want to adjust your seasonings if you don't feel like you have enough salt in there. This is your last chance. Now let's get those croutons out of the toaster. Yummy. Those are hot. Those are going to need a few minutes to cool before they're ready to be cracked over the top of the salad. A little bit more coconut milk. Make sure you reserve about a tablespoon or so to pour into it right before service. Now it's time to go get the salmon out of the oven. Ooh, now that looks delicious. Now while it's still really hot, I'm going to hit it with some more of that glaze. Lovely little salmon. Love it up with a little bit more of the yummy orange ginger glaze. Just makes it shiny and beautiful if you apply it at the last minute as well. And while I'm here, I'm going to go ahead and put a little chiffonata spinach on my salad plates here. It's going to serve as the bed of greens underneath the zucchini salad. Just putting the finishing touches on the risotto now. I'm going to fold those delicious sautéed mushrooms into it at this point. By folding them in at the end, you help them to maintain their integrity as a vegetable. And you also maintain a separation of flavors between the creamy, rich risotto and the browned mushrooms. I'm going to go ahead and add that last little bit of coconut milk now. And this is the final stir here. Taking it off the heat, and bringing it over here for plating. Beautiful. Wow, that looks really yummy. So rich and flavorful. Next thing is to put the salmon on top. And as I take the salmon off the broiler pan, I'm going to slide my spoon underneath the fillet and separate it from its skin. Placing it right on top of the risotto. There we go. Come on. There we are, my little pretty. And then the salad. One more quick little toss in the dressing here. Scoop it on top of your greens. Be sure to scoop up plenty of the beautiful tomatoes. Oh. And then drizzle the salad dressing over the top, just to add that extra little punch of flavor. Break apart the crouton over the top of the salad. Nice little bite-sized chunks.